this is Keiko from Brooklyn Shoe Space. Today I am hosting Shoe Talks from our friend Shoemakers studio. Vegan Cordwainer is a handle name, and she also has Loyal Footwear, vegan shoe line. It's in Hoboken, New Jersey, right across the river from Lower Manhattan, and that's where I'm hosting today from. So today I'm inviting Matt of Queen City DG Dry Goods. He is here, so let me just invite him on. Okay, here we go. Hello.
Hi, Keiko.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Can you see
good. How are
me?
you?
Good. I just wanted to say thank you for taking your time today out of your busy day, midday. It seems
Yeah.
beautiful out there. Is this outside? Right
Yeah.
where,
I stepped outside so I could take the mask off. This is our we're in Vermont here. It's behind our little factory. Yeah, so it's not raining, luckily.
yeah. Oh, it's so nice. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's lovely. It's getting green. So
Yeah.
yeah, I figured I'd start out here, and then when I gotta step back inside, I'll mask up
How
and I
many,
can.
right. How many people are in the building?
There are three people in addition to myself,
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
and one
Volume
dog.
up. Hmm? Over there. That's Rebecca over there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, so tell us a little bit. I'm before we introduce and everything, I always ask about how this past year has been, how the pandemic has affected you, if you had to pivot your business or if you had access to your workshop and factory and how that went. Just kind of like, I know it's still ongoing, but it's getting a little better. It seems like you are operating as well now. And so can you tell us a little bit about the COVID in 2020?
Sure, yeah. Um, at first, I kept coming in, but all the staff stayed home. Since we have our own entrance and our own space here, I was able to continue to come in, and I got involved in some prototypes for our hospital. So I started working on that. Also cutting some rubber for masks.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we cut tens of thousands of them here on our clicker press and with our CNC cutter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got involved in making this negative pressure kind of individual pod for when the anesthesiologists are working on a COVID patient and they're extubating them. They could put
Wow.
this apparatus around the patient
Yeah.
and contain them and draw all the air through a HEPA filter. So we
Uh-huh.
make units of those for the hospital, and they have them in case they run out of space. So for a few months, I was involved, using all the resources that we have to contribute in any way we could, and worked on all that stuff. And then gradually, as things started to open back up, everybody came back as they felt comfortable, and
Mm-hmm.
to the new reality, just
Yeah.
masking up,
Yeah. And
doing
hand sanitize.
sanitizer and cleaning, and just taking it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we launched our house shoe operation or program in last May. It was
Right in the middle.
it was in the works before COVID, and so we decided to just kind of get back to launching that, and so that's what we've been doing since then. But and as you said, COVID's still ongoing.
Yeah.
We're all vaccinated, and but we're still masking up every day. Taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm glad you're like, yeah, you're contributing to the community, which is amazing, and thank you for that. How did you start shoemaking and leatherworking? Tell us your story.
Well, I think my interest started. I went to Greece and Italy for a trip, and I saw some small shops over there,
Yeah,
and like a finding store where they had all the
yeah,
holes and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
What got totally intrigued. Came back and was just thinking about custom shoes and I wanted to develop a way of casting my feet and making shoes on a cast, and developing a
Ha ha
process.
ha.
That was sort of my entree into it. And by the time a couple of years went past, I had learned a lot about shoemaking and really came to understand that it's easier to modify a last to fit my measurements than it is to build a last from a cast. The process, learned a lot and decided, I really love this process and want to stick with it. Um,
Mm-hmm. Which
and
years are these? When was this Greece and Italy trip?
that was 97. And then I came back and moved to Vermont in 97 and started a little workshop. So,
Uh-huh.
um, and, just started pursuing it as a sort of side project. I was working for a furniture maker, and
Uh-huh.
it was so hard to find information in
Yeah,
97.
back then. Yep.
Very little internet yet, and
Yeah.
a few books. So I found a Vermont shoemaker, Dan Freeman, who was
Uh-huh.
really helpful to kind of point me in the right direction and give me some good resources. There was
Uh-huh.
also Boston at that point called the Boston Bootmakers, who aren't there
Yeah.
anymore.
Uh-huh.
Um, and, and I just started doing it as an independent study. I got
Wow.
with a book by Tim Skirmy, who's an
Yes.
Australian gentleman,
Yeah.
George Coliffe's Pattern. So those two, Tim was actually writing the book, uh, and course I was corresponding with him. We had found each other on a chat group, and he was sending me the chapters as he was writing the book,
Oh,
and
nice.
back, and that was really helpful. And then just taking apart shoes and figuring it out. That was how I got started, and I didn't make anything worth anything for years until I just spent a lot of time learning.
And then during this time though, you're making furniture and this was kind of on the side.
Yep,
And
exactly. I was most interested in making hiking boots at first,
hiking
and
boots. Mm.
yeah, and they got better and better, and then eventually I started taking orders for custom hiking boots. So um, everything was made to measure at
Yeah.
that point, and I basically transitioned from my porch to a shop downtown. And
Uh-huh. Nice.
there's a store in Burlington, Vermont called Champlain Leather that's been there since the 70s. And they were gracious enough to allow me to sublet some space from them. And so then I had a real shop, and yeah, I really started doing just custom bespoke footwear. And, people worries with hiking boots. So just, kind of broadened the options and started doing whatever people were interested in.
Right.
So for about 6 years, I had a shop just
Mm-hmm.
doing, I did
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of different styles,
Mm-hmm.
hiking boots, sandals, shoes, dress shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was phase one.
Phase one. Yeah. And I'm curious how, like, dress shoes, women's dress shoes, was it difficult compared to your hiking boots, or was it just different? Like,
Yeah, it was very difficult. I mean, the hardest part was figuring out like how the last has to be different for
yeah,
a women's
yeah,
compared to a hiking boot. So, and it's very difficult to find information about that. How
yeah.
it's a big challenge, and I learned a tremendous amount along the way. I got to eventually learn that I got to do a fitter for every
Yeah,
customer.
yeah, yeah.
I'd fit up the last, and I'd make a dummy shoe and have them try it on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would learn a lot. Okay, I got to take it way in the instep, and a women's dress shoe's got to be a lot more fitted. It's
Yeah.
light material.
Yeah. Wow.
You know,
Did so do you call Dan Freeman your mentor, you feel like, or after that did you go, I want to, yeah, continue. Sorry, I have so many questions. So
yeah, Dan
that,
answered a lot of important questions for me. He wasn't taking on any apprentices at the time, so I would
mhm.
almost pick his brain as much as he'd let me. So he was super helpful, but I didn't. I never went in and spent days at his shop, so it was sort of from afar.
Right,
And for me, it was a lot of trial and error. And
right, self-taught, yeah,
yeah,
from,
which
from books and making, just
yeah,
trial and
and
error. Mm-hmm.
dedication and time, and yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
books were pattern make. George Kuliff's book on pattern making.
Yeah,
I always do because it's so important. And between that and Tim Skirmy's book, there is a lot of information about how the last
yeah,
vary.
yeah.
Um, so
Cool.
yeah.
And then from phase one, what's phase two?
So I got more interested in the design side of it,
Okay.
making bags to have
Mm-hmm.
something that wasn't so custom, and started offering some standard size sandals
Uh-huh.
and and then which led me to develop a relationship with a factory in New Hampshire called Appalachian Stitching, who
Mm-hmm.
they don't make shoes, but they make bags and furniture, a lot of small leather goods. And then I ended up joining their team for about 7 years, uh,
Oh.
being the in-house pattern maker. And
Oh.
they're a contract factory. So for all the clients that would come through there, I would do that, sample making, pattern making, and design. And then we launched our own line of bags and wallets together, which was called Rena USA. And so we worked together for about 7 years. And in that role, I learned a lot. They got a CNC cutter while I was there, got
Yeah.
transitioned doing all the pattern work digitally. So I was able to see how that whole process worked and learn a lot about production,
Yeah.
technique. And all along the way, I was always making shoes, even
Yeah.
though that's really where my passion is. So every season I would make myself a sandal and a sneaker and a boot for the winter, and to keep the juices flowing and
Yeah.
keep learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And then how did you, from making one-offs or for yourself or custom orders, and then working with the Appalachian Stitching to starting your own factory workshop?
Well, when I stopped working with Apple, and I just started over and created Queen City Dry Goods. That was in 2011, and the goal was to start making, to build a shoe factory. So I've been gradually putting the pieces together, and initially started doing some apparel,
Mm-hmm.
making some hats and then jackets
Mm.
and bags and all sorts of stuff as I was gradually getting more and more equipment in place, to really be making shoes. So it's in 2018, I kind of got some of the equipment that I really needed. We got a splitter and a
Yeah.
CNC cutter and pattern software,
Mm.
and been putting each piece in place as time allows. And so we've had our own product line for Queen City Dry Goods, and a lot of what I've done along the way has also been services. So product
Okay.
development, pattern making in bags and footwear, pattern making, sample
Yeah.
making.
Do you still do that?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
that's still a part of the business here, and some small scale manufacturing as well.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Mostly small simpler
Yeah.
things.
Right.
Some things that
Initially, So in 2011, when you opened, is that how did you come back to Vermont? Is that where you grew up, or how did you
Uh,
choose the city?
so I moved up to Vermont in '97 from
Right.
Boston. I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, and moved up here after college.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the folks I worked with in New Hampshire, I still had a studio in Burlington on Church Street, and I just
Okay.
traveled
Wow.
uh, every couple of weeks. I'd spend 3 days over at the factory. So
Mm-hmm.
I've always been here in Vermont. This is, I've been here basically since '97. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm committed to building a factory here, and this is where I live. Love it here.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. And then initially, was it just you, or did you have more staff already from the beginning?
I've had one or two people for the first few years, and then in the
Mm-hmm.
last few, three or four people, depending. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's been great to have other hands in the mix.
Yeah, definitely. Someone actually, I'm just gonna go read through the question. Someone asked, Porter Footwear, any plans for shoes or sneakers in the future?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Okay, and for your own line.
Yeah, we're working on a couple different sneakers, sportier street shoe options for that we're coming out with this year. The plan was to start with house shoes because they're just an easier lift,
Mm-hmm.
and gradually phase in streetwear I get more equipment in place and tool up for it.
Okay, got it. And then somebody at too many shoe person says, how do you use the CNC cutter?
Um, the CNC,
For like what process, I guess, for in
yeah,
your
for
case?
all of all of the flat goods. So all of the leather that we use, fabrics, felt, so rolled goods and leathers.
Mm-hmm.
We can on it, so we cut 1/4 inch EVA foam and
Mm.
rubbers as well. So
Wow.
it can handle a lot of different materials. Um, and it's for both prototyping and for production. So as soon as the patterns are done on the design side, we can send them right over to the cutter and cut that first prototype. No hands cutting, just cut right away. We also cut a lot of templates,
Mm-hmm.
whether templates for seams,
Mm-hmm.
um, or jigs for building things. A lot of
Yeah,
cardboard cut on the seam.
right.
And then once it goes to production, our pattern software grades all the pattern
Everything.
sizes, and we cut in production with the CNC machine as well.
Yeah. Wow. And I saw the software you have. I thought it was more specifically for footwear, but does it also grade for other things too, like bags and?
Yeah, I mean, it can grade gloves. It can grade
Oh,
anything, but it's really not apparel grade software. That's really sort of a different,
right.
uh, a different industry and different software with its
Mm.
own parameters. But the software we have is footwear grading software. It's
Mm-hmm.
Caligula from Camel's,
Yep.
and very powerful, and can also be used for bags. I mean, you can make anything that there's patterns for. It can make. When it comes to grading, it's really footwear, gloves. It could do
Mm.
bag sizes. Um,
Mm.
but if you're not outside of grading, the software can do anything. We just did a upholstery project for a restaurant.
Mm.
We do bags and do, prototypes. So it's pretty versatile,
Right.
but it's
Right.
built for footwear in mind at first.
Right. Oh, that's really cool. That's the one thing, yeah, I'm tempted to get, but I'm still like not there yet. um,
Um, that for software that's, we were using Fusion 360 just in the 2D environment, which is a lot
mm,
more affordable. Just do the grading, but that's one option to consider to just go digital, but if you want to work with a digital cutting machine, Caligula is great because Camel's also makes cutting machines. So the way all the data is exported has interfacing with a cutter built into the software.
Right, right. Oh, amazing. And then, so that was 20. So now, fast forward a little bit, you've been working on your line of shoes and you started with the house shoes. So that was just 2020. How long did it take to like develop your line? Like you were saying you were preparing for it. Did you prototype a couple times? Do you sketch first?
So many prototypes. Yeah. I mean, the house shoes went through so many different iterations. I've made, slippers every year since I can remember. I'm always working on a new, house shoe design. But I got really serious about it to launch a full graded line of them. And over last, what was it, 2019, I mean, every day I was coming home with a new pair and testing them and refining the fit. I probably made 10 or 15 different styles. We have a high top and a low top. So
nice.
a lot of iterations till I felt like it was really nailed. Different fit, different construction, and working through it. So it was a long process.
That's good to know. I mean, I think there's a lot of product developers or even somebody who wants to start their own line who really think that like sketching it and then just making it is it. But, it takes iterations, and wear tests, and it takes time.
There's so many variables. Change one thing changes something that you weren't expecting, so you got to make another sample.
Right.
To really nail all the details, it typically takes multiple samples to get there.
Right. What's the first machine that you acquired?
The very first machine, I got an old Singer household machine and put a roller foot on it. And then, but the first real machine that was really footwear oriented was an old Singer post bed with a roller foot.
Yeah. Oh, great. Do you still have it?
I do. It's upstairs. The old machines are incredible and they were built so well and they're so beautiful. But at this point, I'd much rather have a brand new machine that has a positioner motor and trimmers and ideally all those things that really make sewing easier. And I mean, you can retrofit the older machines with the positioner motor.
Right.
But there's definitely some things that have developments along over the years that have made the machines function better. So
right. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I want to hear like what hand tools your favorite, and I usually ask for a little studio tour or a factory tour if that's possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that possible?
Let me mask up and we can head in there.
Is it one of your masks that you make? Or you made, or?
No, this is actually a Honeywell mask. I like it because it's got a N95 inside that's changeable, and it's knit though. It's cool technology. It's knit.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, and then there's different gauge or what you call it, like different stitching right there.
Yeah, the metals integrated.
Metals in there. Yeah, very cool.
And you can change out the filter inside, so double layer. Let me flip it around and I'll start a tour. Or do you want me to answer my favorite tool question first?
It doesn't matter. Yeah. What's your favorite hand tool?
Yeah, I'd say my favorite hand tool would have to be the lasting pincers. You spend so much time with those when you're lasting by hand.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we actually slip last our house shoes, so which makes it super fast to make a pair of shoes.
Yes.
So we don't actually need the lasting pliers, um, but you know, those are, and it's so specific to shoemaking like
Yeah.
this. That's got to be my favorite hand tool.
Did you get it specifically like from somebody, or did you get it in Europe? Did you just find
The
it
first,
online?
I got it in an antique shop. It was ancient. I used that for years,
Wow.
and it broke on me. And then I think I have a CS Osborne one now, and I I customized it because I made the teeth narrower, so it's easier to get into the toe pleats.
Right.
Yeah, I can show you that. Let me.
Yeah, I would love to see.
How do I flip it
Yeah.
around?
And then I guess with your shoes too, your line of shoe, I forgot to ask you what your price point is and stuff. We'll talk about that later.
Sure.
Ooh, wow.
So this is our sewing room.
Uh-huh.
This is a walking foot machine. That's
Uh-huh.
our flatbed walking foot, and then these
Mm-hmm.
are walking feet
Yeah.
cylinder
Slender
machines.
arm.
Yeah, that we use for mostly for bags.
Yeah.
Um, this is all set up with a binding attachment.
Nice.
Um, so the top line of our house shoes has got leather binding, and this
Yeah.
machine we use for that,
Mm-hmm.
it just does that binding along the top, which we hand
Yeah.
cut, or we cut that on the CNC machine and split it down, and then it runs through this attachment and comes out of there perfect every time.
Amazing.
Um, this is our
High
single needle
post.
single
Single
needle
needle.
press.
Mm-hmm.
It's got trimmers,
Nice.
automatic backtack,
Wow.
and is the trimmer function is great. We have this is an old FAF
Mm-hmm.
double needle
Double
post bed,
needle. Mm-hmm.
and then we have a post bed zigzag, which is great. We use this for the back seams.
Wow. It's a post bed too.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot easier to get into like
Yep.
really curved areas.
Yep.
It's not,
Yep.
so those are mainly our shoe machines. I do have some other machines for other prototyping other stuff. This is a cover
What's this
stitch,
one? Cover
three
stitch.
three needle cover stitch. So it does that type of seam. So
Uh-huh.
it's good for knits, anything
Yeah.
stretchy. You know, there's no bobbin. It's a chain stitch.
Wow.
So this, in conjunction with an overlock machine, can do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
knit seam. And then we have just a regular drop feed,
Flatbed. Mm-hmm.
flatbed drop feed machine for wovens and lightweight fabrics and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, we also have a pattern tacker, which this is an
Wow.
automated computerized stitching machine. Um, and we
What?
use this.
Uh-huh. What do you use it
We,
for? Yeah.
yeah, we use it for. So these can be used for footwear, and in shoe factories, they'll use these for sewing anything that can be done flat.
Huh.
You put it in a pallet, and it clamps in there, and it just automatically sews everything.
Wow. So
It's a
you
lot of
have to,
setup. It's a
yeah, a
huge
lot of
amount of
setup.
setup for all those jigs, but
Yeah.
it's super fast in production. So, shoe factories use these a lot. We use it for actually for a webbing assembly we make for a client, for a
Okay.
customer, and it
Webbing
stitches.
assembly. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it makes a box stitch
Mm-hmm.
and a X and then a bar tack, and you drop it in there, and it just cruises through that in seconds,
Yeah.
and trims the threads as well.
Wow, it's consistent, which is great. So did you
Yeah,
did you have to create the template or the jig part? Or,
yeah, I did. Um, so it's
ooh, so many. Okay. So
so this is
you can program it.
well, yeah. So this I had laser cut, and this is what holds the work in here, and
Uh-huh.
then you program it on the screen. You
Uh-huh.
basically walk it through the stitch, and then it memorizes,
Memorizes it.
repeat it.
Wow.
Um, so it's you have to program it and you have to build the jig, and then it's just repeats that process every time.
How many
Uh,
processes can the machine hold?
remember,
Remember,
hundreds.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
Wow,
just
really?
call up whatever the file name is and swap
Oh,
out the jigs.
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really neat. So
So you set it up once and you can always go back to that project again without,
yeah,
right, right. That's cool.
yeah, you can set the jigs up so they just drop in to an outer frame, so that everything's always
Wow.
registering in the same place.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
What else can I show you? We've got all sorts of stuff that we're working on, but I don't know if you want me to just walk through the
Up to
machinery
you. I
first.
would love, I mean, yeah, we can come back to it. It looks really interesting. Is this like prototyping phase or is
This
this
is how shoes
production?
are. So,
Production.
we do them in small batches at a time. We
Mm-hmm.
might cut, 50 pair, but then we'll work on smaller batches that run all the way through. So these are our mule
Mm-hmm.
style, and
Mm-hmm.
they're lasted, and then this is these are loafers that are just getting marked right here.
Uh-huh.
So we mark, all the
Yep.
stitch lines.
Yep.
So these are getting marked and these are getting lasted, and then
Mm-hmm.
we've got some bags in progress over here.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, I saw those. That's really cool.
and
Mm-hmm.
then these are actually house shoes that have been worn and have come back to have rubber soles put on them.
Oh,
So
interesting.
this customer has 3 pairs, and when we launched the rubber soles, they brought them all back, said put some rubber soles on for us. So that's what we're doing there.
So that they can go outside as well, kind of.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
This is sort of the
Interesting.
intermediate shoe. That's a house shoe, but
Uh-huh.
but can go outside.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. Cool.
Uh, this is a boot I'm working on for myself. That's
Mm-hmm.
just in progress here.
Mm.
Shearling lines.
Yeah. Looks
Um,
warm.
yeah, just
Yeah.
mid process here.
Uh-huh.
And there's some other. This is an old style that I'm resoling. Needs a new
Uh-huh.
sole.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is a sneaker I made for as a tribute to the post office.
post office. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Uh-huh.
And then this is our house shoe, our high top house shoe with a cup sole. So this is again sort of like a hybrid
Yeah, yeah. Very
that we're
cool.
working on to release soon.
Very cool.
These are all our lasts for our house
Yeah.
shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I modeled this last, so this is totally our own custom
Custom.
last.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Um, what else we got here? This is Britt working on
Oh.
insoles and house shoes,
Yeah.
and Mike over here working on stitching some
Sidewall stitching. Yeah.
wall stitching.
Yeah. Are these machines a little more like newer machines? Like, did you get them more recently?
Yes, the sidewall stitcher I just got last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible machine. So yeah, that just
Yeah.
came in. It's the only machine that can do this operation.
Yep. Yep.
We have
Cool.
a throwable machine here,
Oh, wow. You do. Mm-hmm.
and that's
Oh,
where
because yours because it's slip lasted.
correct. Yeah.
Right.
So the patterns, for slip lasting, the pattern's got to be so dialed in so that
Yep.
it's 99% there before it gets
Yep.
lasted.
Yep.
So the toe seam helps with that. Helps to give it shape.
Yep.
And then you strobe it, and it's ready.
Nice. So nice.
So I can show you. Continuing on.
Yeah.
This
Wow,
is
you
our
have so much space. Uh-huh.
yeah. It's a lot of space here. This is Emma,
Hi.
and she's cutting some parts. She's cutting some binding. Looks
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
some soles for her house shoes. So if
Mm.
you want, she can. It gets loud, but she can
It's
run a
okay.
cut, and you can watch it happen. Let me
Ooh,
actually go
yeah.
around the other side.
Yeah. How big is the tabletop or the
It's
surface?
about 8 feet by 5 feet.
4, 5. Wow.
It's big.
It is
So
big.
she's
Yep.
laying out the parts on the
Yep.
computer,
Yep.
and then they're a little hard to see on brown leather, but you can
Yeah.
see
Yep. The laser. It
it's
kind of shows
projected.
you.
Gonna
Mm-hmm.
cut there.
Mm. Wow. Cool. Oh, and what's that plastic for?
So there's suction that's
Okay.
sucking the material down, and the plastic helps prevent any of the edges from picking up.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. That's so great. Is this a Comel's cutter or is it a?
It's a company called Yin.
Yeah.
They have offices in the U.S. and Texas.
Oh, wow. That's great.
It's gonna run for a second.
And did Emma already know how to work it, or is it a rather straightforward?
There's quite a bit to learning how to use everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Different
bet.
materials.
Right.
There's a lot to it, but once you're fully trained, it's very straightforward. So you can see it cuts really nicely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, so,
And it doesn't burn the edges or anything. It's actually with a knife.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a knife.
Yeah.
It's an oscillating knife that's going up and down.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
So
cool.
she just cuts some binding, and then she's splitting it down. So this is our band knife splitter.
Uh-huh.
So run it through,
Oh. Yeah.
take it down in thickness.
Yeah. Nice. Wow. Oh. Okay, so out of all the, I mean, sewing machines, I understand. What are the big purchases? Like, what's the order you purchased it? Like, did the CNC cutter come first with the software?
CNC cutter was 2019, was pretty recent purchase, and
Mm,
that's really what enabled us to start to do footwear in production.
right.
Before that, we were cutting by hand or
Wow.
cutting dies. We still cut with clicker press. These are
Y-
cutting dies
Yeah.
for all sorts of
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
But those to do that for a run of shoes is really expensive. So
Yep.
we still have a clicker press. We can cut, with dies over here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
so,
cool.
yeah, it's been the CNC cutters was the most recent purchase. I mean,
Yeah.
I have some other machines that I've gotten since then, but
Yeah.
this is
Wow.
this is
Yep.
an outsole stitcher, Landis outsole
Yeah.
stitcher.
Do you
Curved.
use it?
Yeah, we're not using it on the current styles I'm making. Before
Yeah.
I was doing house shoes, I was doing something, a line we were calling street mocks,
Street marks.
and those
Okay.
are all stitched down. That was before I had the CNC cutter and I was cutting everything by hand. so,
Wow.
um, so yeah, but the hiking boots I used to make, we were all stitched down.
Yep.
Stitch down's a great waterproof construction. So, yeah, we still use it. It's just not for our current line, but we'll
You'll get
probably,
into it again.
yep. And
And
we have an
what,
old line finisher here.
right. Are you the only one who can use it, or do you have somebody who's trained there
On
that can
that
use?
full stitcher?
Yeah.
Just me at this point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough machine to operate. It takes a while to get the hang of it.
Yeah. I
It's
was
kind
wondering.
of a monster. Yeah, I think
That's
it's.
cool. Yeah. Oh, you don't wanna. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a neat
It looks
machine.
great. Yeah.
And then we have, moving on, we have our
Yeah.
Skyver,
Yeah.
super important machine.
Yeah.
And we have an upstairs here as well.
Wow.
This is our glue station for solvent glues. This is an
Uh-huh.
exhaust booth we built
Uh-huh.
outside.
Uh-huh.
And we've got, this is another sewing area. We've got an overlock machine and a
Nice.
little toe press.
Oh,
And,
what is
and
that?
then,
What did you say? Toe press?
yeah, it can mold toes
Uh-huh. Pre-mold?
with a, yeah, well, if I want to put a little shape into it before we
Oh.
blast it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I haven't really integrated that into production yet, but we've been experimenting with it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
this is where we make all of our insoles. So we, these get artwork on them. And so that
Nice.
happens
And
at
the
this station here.
stamper. Yeah, is that the
Yep,
heat stamper?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty
Wow.
much the operation.
Uh-huh. Did I see a sole press or no? I didn't see a sole press.
Yes, we skipped over the sole press.
Mm.
Um, it's a bladder press.
Oh, nice.
So it's got a bladder
Wow.
up in there.
Yeah.
And
1 foot at a time?
yeah, single
Yeah.
station.
Window station. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
the last goes in there,
Yep.
and then you close it, and it sucks that bladder down on top of it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, cool.
It's
Oh,
really
you put it
loud.
in upside down. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Very cool machine.
It
So
is.
when we're gluing on our soles, that presses it, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. So cool. Wow. You have so many machines.
Yeah. Yeah, the ever-growing collection.
Yeah.
Um, we still got a long list of stuff we need to get, but
Yeah. What's the next on your list that you want to get?
now that we're working with more adhesives, I need to get. Actually, I just ordered a heat activation unit.
Mm-hmm.
For reactivating the cements.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming later this week. I need to get a better exhaust system for the fumes.
Right.
So those are some of the first ones that we need to get.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking to expand our output of house shoes and
Mm-hmm.
just get some more post beds in and hire some more people is one of the next things on the list. What else do we need? There's so many other machines I've got my eye on, but trying not to until we absolutely have to.
Oh, that's so amazing. So using the machines you have, so how do people find you? Like, do they just come and ask you to do sampling, prototyping, small batch manufacturing, and
Um,
do you take them
as far
on
as
at the
as
moment?
product development stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of different things. Sometimes it's word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
We have a website for that called Queen City Manufacturing, where we
Mm-hmm.
kind of showcase all of our equipment and all of our capabilities, pattern making and sample making. So we do some marketing of that website. A lot of word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have just a lot of friends in the footwear industry who just networking. I
Yeah.
worked with Red Wing Shoe for a couple of years. They had a team there called the Garage, and so
Uh-huh.
I was a part of that team for a couple of years and did a lot of prototyping for those guys. Various.
Uh-huh. Very cool. Do you see them already in the market at the moment by now, or the work
Um,
that you worked with them?
I don't think anything's hit the market yet. No.
Mm.
Some of it wasn't necessarily footwear. We were doing a lot of stuff with their waste stream and trying
Mm.
applications for all the waste leather that comes out of the cutting department.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's
it was,
important. That's cool. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it was really interesting work. So some of that, hasn't hit the street yet, but we'll see.
Very cool. Very cool. What shoes are you making? Not making, sorry. What shoes are you wearing now? Do you always wear shoes that you made?
Yes. Um, oops,
Oop.
sorry. I'm wearing a pair of our high top
House,
house
yeah,
cup sole, and
with a
this is
cup sole.
yeah, bison leather.
Oh,
I
bison
mean,
leather, cool.
pretty much just wear stuff I made. I have a few pair of Red Wings I wear, but otherwise it's just Queen City shoes.
Very cool. Which style is your favorite so far?
Um, they each have their own place. The mules I love at home because they're easy to step in and out of,
Yeah,
um, and they're cooler.
like
Whereas the high tops are great when it's in the winter. So in some ways I think the mules are the coolest because they're the easiest to step in and out of, but they're
right,
also not as versatile.
right.
Yeah.
And then favorite material to work with. Do you have a favorite? Like, is the bison mainly your material? Someone actually asked about leathers before, about if your leathers are chrome tanned or veg tanned.
We use both. Like some of the bison is vegetable tanned,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but some of it's chrome tanned as well. Um,
Mm.
we work directly with the tannery for leathers we're buying on a regular basis,
Uh-huh.
and then other leathers where we want to just do a smaller run, we'll buy from a distributor. So
Right.
we have a ton of different leather here, and it depends. But for the house shoes, it's all cow and bison.
Oh,
Uh,
bison.
and the bison's really beautiful stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
it might be my favorite at the moment because there's so much depth to it. It's got
Yeah.
great texture and there's a lot of depth, a lot of highs and lows, and just beautiful stuff. And it's
Uh,
great that it's U.S. grown and
oh,
U.S.
that's what I was gonna
Tan-
ask. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, so yeah, we're loving that stuff.
U.S. grown, tanned in the U.S. as well.
Yep.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. It's awesome. And
So
it's
some,
really durable
Mhm.
stuff. Really good material.
What's the pair on the bottom shelf there? Someone has the white ones. They look cool.
Um,
Let's look at your shelf.
here, here.
Yeah,
These
I
are a
think so.
pair of sneakers I made, a tribute to David Bowie
Oh, oh, cool. Super
a couple of
cute.
years ago. Yeah, that was a style. This is the same style, but with a Vibram, different sole on it.
Uh-huh.
They never
Oh,
went into production. It was just a prototype. They have sort of a sock. Sorry,
yeah,
sort of a
yeah,
sock, an
yeah,
integrated sock lining, and then it's
yeah.
leather and denim.
Uh-huh. Was that for a client?
Nope, that was just
No.
one of my pet projects.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we
Have you
never went
worn
into
them?
production on it.
You
I
never
haven't.
went to
I've worn the
production.
Bowie ones. The Bowie ones are the same upper, but just a different sole.
Different sole, yeah. It
Yeah,
looks so different once, yeah. But
yeah,
that
that
one
that
doesn't,
sole really.
does it have a
And then
sock inside
that's the new
too?
one. Yeah,
Mm. Sorry, it's
you can
like,
see it's like a knit. This is a
oh,
wool actually. It's a knit wool upper in it.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's integrated. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. You have to excuse my camera work. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Knit, yeah, yeah, and then it's sewn onto the upper, or does it go all the way?
It goes down to about the bottom of the tongue, not all the way.
Mm. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah, those are fun.
Yeah,
I've
it
got
looks
some
fun.
older stuff too. Like this is from back in
Hiking boot
my
making
early
days.
days when I was doing bespoke custom hiking boots and stuff. All these
They're really
guys,
cool. They're really cool.
just
Yeah.
classic old ones. And then these are the street mocks. We were
Uh-huh.
making a stitch down.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
very
what we
cool.
were full stitcher for.
Uh-huh.
That was an old fitter I made for a custom pair.
Uh-huh.
And then this was another little line we did at one point, a women's, these little like flats.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was it
They
your
have
own line as well, or was it?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
This was
Wow.
a
Okay.
hand stitched
Hand
toe,
stitched. Wow.
little button, little elastic button.
Yeah. 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 Very
And
cool.
yeah, these are other old ones. This was back from my early days when my brand was Rena. This was
Oh, you're freezing.
and then that same
Uh-huh.
style,
Uh-huh.
sandals.
Yeah. Really cool.
So I've done all
Uh-huh.
sorts of different styles.
Yeah, you have. And the bags and the leather goods. Are you still doing it for your line as well as other people, for other people, or is it mostly for Queen City leather goods, dry goods?
We we're doing product development all the time for other
Mm-hmm.
brands.
Yeah.
Right now we're making we have a carry-all, that camo bag you saw in the other room.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
in production for our own line right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Very
and
cool.
we do small batch manufacturing as well, you know,
Yeah.
little jobs, little custom jobs, but not in footwear. We haven't really done any contract footwear manufacturing.
Right.
Um,
Would you like to,
just
or
doing
is
that.
that kind of your brand is coming first for footwear?
If it's I'm open to, you know, entertaining opportunities if it's a good fit. We just
Mm-hmm.
don't have all the equipment. I mean, you're asking about other stuff. We still need a real toe laster and a heel
Mm.
part lasting, and some more machinery to really be able to do contract manufacturing and
Right.
footwear.
Right.
Um, we
Now
don't have
everybody. Uh-huh.
we don't have a heat tunnel, so. But if the right, client came along, maybe it would be just what we need to like get the right equipment in place. But we're also running out of space here, so we're potentially looking at a relocating in the next couple of years. So
Wow. Wow.
um,
That's a big undertaking, yeah, with all the machinery that you have accumulated. Um, do you
sure.
always source all the materials locally or try to, or is that something that I guess it depends on the client, but for your Queen City dry goods styles, do you try?
I try to get everything locally as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, like in the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing really local. Like we don't have any tanneries in Vermont.
Yeah.
Or any textile mills. So everything is really outside of Vermont, but
Mm-hmm.
we try to get everything in the States as much as possible.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you, if you take clients for leather goods, is there, when you say small batch, what's the quantity like?
We'll do 50s or 100s.
50s to hundreds.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's anything smaller than that, it's hard to justify all the
Setup.
development cost, the
Yep.
sample cost. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, we'll do smaller numbers like that. It also depends on how complex they are.
Yeah.
If it's a small leather good that just is some cutting and some hot stamping, it's pretty easy to move that through. If it's an involved bag, we might need to do larger volume to because it's a lot to learn all the steps. Everybody to
Yeah.
learn it, set up all the machines.
Yep.
So yeah, it kind of depends on what it is.
I agree. Got it. Got it. Got it. Do you have a life mantra that you live by?
um, I don't know that I do. Our slogan is making them like they used to, because they always
Oh,
say they don't make them like they used to, and that's what we're trying to do.
yeah. And even more.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like,
yeah. I mean, I love old school, high quality, handmade stuff, and I also really embrace all the new technology. And I
yeah.
think there's really a kind of a happy middle ground where you can,
Yes.
especially now. I mean, the the these machines that were only available to like larger companies in the past are achievable now on like the software. So I
Yeah.
really embrace utilizing all the modern tools and
Yeah.
also like bringing the old school along with it. And trying to combine them.
Very cool, very cool. If you had all the resources available to you and no worries in life, what kind of shoes would you make and for who? Would it be something
Um,
like, yeah,
well, I can't tell you exactly what we have in the works.
okay,
Uh,
that's okay. But
so
something for your own line of
yeah,
shoes.
definitely. I mean, my vision is to build a shoe factory here in Vermont and employ a
Mm,
lot of people, and be making products that are affordable too, that aren't um, super elite.
yeah,
Originally I was doing custom made to measure stuff, and I'm at this point I'm much more interested in making something that your average person can afford, and that
to do
fits
that.
more people. Yeah, so yeah, like a mass market product, but that's really high quality made is what we're
Mm-hmm,
trying to achieve.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow, that's a big undertaking with the factory, it's setting up the factory, but I think you can do it. You're already doing it. It's about finding the right styles, right? That can work with your machines that you already have, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm constantly experimenting with new prototypes I'm working on, and trying to find a process that's not too time consuming,
Hmm.
so that we can implement it here with the resources we have. But I'm also open to buying some new machinery, um,
To speed up.
for yeah, for the right process.
Right.
But there's so many different constructions,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
and they're all great, so it's hard to pick one.
Yeah.
But finding a construction like the slip lasting is great, because we
Yeah.
didn't need a machine. We don't have to hand last the toes.
Yeah.
Uh, we just slip last it, just pop it in there, and it's lasted. So finding, like you said, the right operations that make it doable here in the
Right.
state is
Right.
is tricky.
Yeah.
Labor costs are just so high, so
Yeah.
the more labor that goes into the shoe, the
Yep.
more expensive it's got to be.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, if you bring somebody in, do you train them yourself, and how long does it take to train them to use
Yeah,
the machine?
everybody I've hired has some experience for sure. That's relevant. But what we're doing is pretty unique. So most people haven't had experience doing actually making shoes, but they may have experience sewing. So there's
Hmm.
always some training. But I really enjoy training people who have maybe some sewing experience but haven't done it, because
Hmm.
anybody can learn to
Yeah.
sew and do all of these operations. It's
Yeah.
just it just takes a little time to develop the skills, and it's great to see people struggle with it at first, and then a couple of weeks later they're just humming along.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I expect as we grow to be training a lot of people from scratch, and not
That's
expecting to
great.
find highly skilled stitchers.
Right. Um, is there a lot of like a pool of population to like choose from up there? Like what is it like, the demographic? Like, I'm curious.
Um, well, there's not a huge sewing industry. We have a few
Mm.
shops.
Hmm.
There's a company called Johnson Woolen Mills, and there's a contract sewer called Bosna Cutters.
Hmm.
Uh, and they employ a lot of refugees, actually.
Oh.
There's some Bosnian folks and some Vietnamese folks who are all, I think, really experienced. Um,
Uh-huh.
there's
Ah.
a lot of refugee resettlement in Vermont,
Uh-huh.
but there's also just a lot of folks who we're in Chittenden County, which is for Vermont, is the more populous area. So,
Hmm.
we'll see as we start to grow
Yeah.
exactly how many people want to work here or not. But
Yeah.
there's a decent sized population.
Very
Um,
cool.
yeah.
And do you take apprentices? Are you
Sure.
looking
Yeah.
for interns?
Yeah. It's been, obviously we're just coming out of COVID, so
Pandemic. Yeah.
things are in transition, but yeah, we're welcome to field interested people who want to apprentice here.
Very cool. Um, where do you personally and professionally want to be in like 5 to 10 years? You were saying maybe down the line you might want to move to a bigger space, like in 5 years, you were saying? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it may be sooner than that. I think
Yeah.
if all goes as planned, I mean, we're in the process of planning out an increase in output of our house
Mm-hmm.
shoes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then also some new styles. So it could be in the next couple of years, we're
Very
increasing. But,
cool.
my longer term plan, yeah, is to have 20, 30 people working here in the next 5 years in a bigger space, and working on our marketing effort, our marketing game,
Yeah.
um, sell what we're making, coming out with some exciting new products and just increasing our output.
Very,
And
very cool.
yeah.
Do you have, I'm sorry, it's gonna go a little personal, but do you have family members or do you have somebody that you're training together for like this next generation or somebody in mind, a partner?
um, it's just me for my family that's involved in this. And, I didn't learn from family. It wasn't like a family tradition or anything.
Right.
But yeah, I'm hoping to create something that's going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
and here for many years to come.
Hmm.
Whether folks in my family or folks who work at the company and take it over. So we'll see.
Okay, okay. I'm curious and I'm really looking forward to seeing your team grow.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're it's been a long time, a lot of work to get here, but I think we've come a long way, and I think there is exciting things are going to be happening further down the road.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't think you actually told us which shoe is your favorite. It's kind of like choosing your child, right? You can't really
Yeah.
pick
Tough one.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you develop some, hmm?
Whatever I'm wearing.
That
You know.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when you develop, you're saying you made so many, but then you narrowed it down to say one or two styles. Do you, I guess you just launched it, so you haven't had that moment of like you launched it and then you're not going to continue that line, like, or like continue that style. But do you feel like your two styles, the high top and the mule style, you'll keep forever? That's kind of like your staple, and then you're going to
Um,
add more to
yeah, I
the
think
line?
so. I think
Mm-hmm.
we're pretty set on those styles kind of
Mm-hmm.
being like always a part of the line.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think we've put enough iterations into it. We don't need to tweak it anymore. I mean, you never
Mm-hmm.
know, but we're pretty happy with those. I'm more focused on bringing in new
New
kind of new
silhouettes.
sectors, like, yeah, new
Okay.
silhouettes or just new functionality. Like, these are really for the home and
Mm-hmm.
maybe for driving and going to the
Mm-hmm.
grocery store, but something that's much more, built for the street and
Mm-hmm.
more different functionality. These
Mm-hmm.
are all different prototypes you were asking about. So
Until you got to the current one.
yeah,
Oh,
lots
very
of
cool.
stuff.
Oh, they're very cool. Yeah.
So that was like a totally different look at one point.
Yeah. It is totally different look.
This was like a exposed stitch down the
Yep.
front.
Yep. You have the stitcher, right? Or is that hand stitched?
This was done on the Strobel.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you look
All
at
right.
inside the shoe, you see that kind of stitch. So I just did that
In to
seam
the
there.
outside. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We did it there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm. Oh, so cool.
So yeah, we went through a lot of iterations on that.
Very cool. Did you ever
Oh,
have to
you know
hand?
what I wanted to show you,
Oh,
Keiko,
yeah.
was our software. If
Oh,
you're
yeah.
interested,
I'm
just real.
totally interested. Yeah. And you had
Um,
a whole table of shoes that was that you were in middle of making too that we
see
were
that?
maybe going to come back to. I forget. Yeah, this ones. These are the Oh, did we already talk about it?
Oh, we
Yeah,
did
we did.
briefly. Yeah, this is the loafer.
Right.
That's where it was
You
marked.
set it up and mark it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sorry. You did.
So, and they get these haven't been skived yet, so this needs to be skived still,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're ready to sew.
So cool.
These have been
Sorry,
marked.
I interrupted. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered that, and
I guess
from there.
right. And each person has like a task for the day, but that person can do multiple steps too, it seems like.
Yeah, people bop around to different stuff.
Yeah.
This is our boss.
Oh, so cute. What's her or his name?
That's Rosie
Rosie.
with her
Oh,
Queen City Dry Goods jacket.
oh, so cute. Oh, did you make?
Yeah,
That's
I
so
made her
great.
jacket. So this is the software.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just open a shoe.
Was it difficult to learn?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty complicated. I've been doing stuff digitally for a long time, so it was a
Mm-hmm.
matter of learning the nuances of this software.
Mm-hmm.
So let me try to make this a digestible layout here.
Yeah,
So
I've
this is the
seen.
base,
Mm-hmm.
just the base
Mm-hmm.
drawing for the shoe, and then
Yeah.
that's that's that part we were just looking at on the other
Yep.
table,
Yep. Yep.
and you can see where
The,
that's where it gets marked, where we
yep.
marked it with the pen. And then the software has the ability, as we talked about, to grade all the patterns. So
Mm-hmm.
this is all
Wow.
for that particular piece.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the different sizes. This we run from size 4 to 50 to 15, 4 to 15.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh,
All
that's
of
great. For
yeah,
women's to men's, yeah. And
yeah.
then,
It's a unisex size run,
mm-hmm.
so it's straight through, just men's and women's.
And can you, not just the lengths and the sizing, can you also on the pattern software and Caligula adjust the width as well? Grade the
Yep,
width
you can.
and everything? Wow,
Or
that's great.
yeah, we don't do different widths,
Mm-hmm.
but if you did, you'd put it in right here. So this is where you plug in um, the increments between each width.
Wow.
So there's a
Wow.
width right here. You plug it in, you put in
Right.
those parameters, and
Mm-hmm. And it does it for
you
you.
can grade it that way. Yeah, just this is whole sizes too. So it's a
Yeah.
lot of data.
Yeah.
4 to 15. That's 11 sizes. If there were half
Yes.
size, there'd be that many more. So to add a width, it's just incredibly complex. Lot to manage.
Do you do services where you like scan in a pattern and grade for that person or for that style, for example?
Yeah. It can take a lot of different paths depending on what the project is, but
Mm-hmm.
um, often customers will send us just a drawing of the upper
Mm-hmm.
and then their last, and we will take it from there. Other times, people will have done the patterns themselves, and they've
Mm.
got it, 99% there or 80% there, and we'll finish it off, maybe fine tune some of the patterns,
Mm-hmm.
so that they're fitting the last really well,
Right.
and and then cut a prototype,
That is so great.
get it digitized, get it into the system,
Uh-huh.
um, so that it can be graded.
And
Um,
then in that case, do you require lasts to be sent to you too? Like a couple
yeah, well,
size?
if they already have a last, then we definitely need a last for the process of making the patterns and grading it.
Right.
Because once we grade it up, into the other sizes, we got to verify it before I can hand it off to them. So
Right.
I need to put it on
if we started in a size 9, I got to put it on 11 and make sure it's fitting well.
Right. And
Sometimes people come to us and they don't have a last yet, but they have a design, in which case, we can help source the last
right.
and get a last that meets all the the characteristics that they
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
and go from there and
Very cool.
help them source the last,
Yeah.
find the last maker, and get all the different
And
sizes.
save a lot of time
Yeah.
of grading. That's so great. Yeah, well, I guess I'll reach out to you separately about that.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
to hear more about what's going on your side.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's another time
Yeah.
for that one. But yeah, wow. No, thank you so much for showing me. I guess one last thing, is there like a practice you would keep that you adapted during COVID, that you would continue? Or would you change? Or do you feel
Well,
like it's a new norm? Would you wear a mask all the time?
yeah, we're trying to figure that out. I don't really know yet. The Vermont, I think, is going to drop the mandates for mask wearing on 4th of July, and we're still feeling out how we all feel about it. I think we're headed towards maybe, we have a lot of space here, and there's only 4 of us, so
Right.
maybe going maskless, but anybody who comes into the shop has to wear a mask. But I really don't know. It's going to take us all. Everybody's got to be kind of comfortable with whatever we're going to do. So we're just taking it one at a time.
Right.
We've all been vaccinated, but there's also it's also
Family members.
affecting the people at home. So yeah, still kind of remains to be seen, and we're working as it unfolds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
personally, long term, I don't want to wear a mask all day, every day.
Exactly. That's where yeah. If you have enough space, you're like, okay, let's just hang, I have mask.
Yeah. If that was the advice, I'd be looking at installing a ventilation system to filter the air before I'd be wearing a mask for the rest of my life.
Right. Yeah.
But that's expensive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You have space, so that's good.
Yeah. We're well distanced, which is good. It's been interesting. Where do we eat lunch? So we put a window in upstairs and put a lunch area up there. But then we started doing production up there. In the summer, you can eat lunch out in the
outside.
picnic, not if it's raining. So it's that's the one time where it's what do you do? So people have been eating in their car.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a little hard, and the winters are long there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for expansion, I guess.
Right.
Or shifts, lunch shifts.
Right.
Everybody, it takes a different timing. Oh my goodness. But it's so great. I really hope that your team and, your brand is going to grow and keep on growing. And I look forward to seeing what you put out. I guess your client work, you can't really show, I guess, right? Because, you're the back end.
Once it's out on the street, we can share stuff. But the nature of a lot of that stuff is that it's confidential.
Yep.
You see on our MFT site, you can see all the folks we've worked with.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, some of the projects are live. We did a lot of work for a horse device, a horse leg prototype that's now on the market.
Wow.
That was a project, went on for years and is live now. It's like a brace for a horse leg.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a cool one that you can see.
I'll check it out.
Yep.
Definitely. Thanks so much for showing us all your inner workings and amazing machinery and beautiful line of house shoes, you should say, not slippers, house shoes.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much for reaching out, and it was fun to do this.
Yeah, no, this is made in USA, small batch, and you're doing it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you grow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Possible. You just got to stick with it.
Yeah. All right. Super inspiring. Thanks so much for taking your time. All right.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.